everyone, and welcome to another episode of the EMAzing Tennis Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Emma Burgich.
And I'm your co-host, Jose Camacho.
Whether you're a player or a coach,
or you're just passionate about what you do and you want to be the best at it,
this is the EMAzing Podcast for you. Today with us, we have for the third time, Nikola Aracic, founder of the Intuitive Tennis, one of the leading online coaching platforms, YouTube, his website. I mean, he does a lot, and I'm really, really happy he lives here close to me, and I can get him on the podcast. We should do this like a monthly thing.
Sure.
Remember, because Nick was first episode when I did it in my house.
I was.
Which was 34 episodes ago. I did 34 episodes.
That was in 22, right?
September 2022.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's when I started a podcast. And I mean, a lot has changed since then. A lot. On both ends.
Sure.
So yeah, update us. Tell us what's going on. What are you doing now?
Well, thank you for having me on, first of all. And I started in 2018, and I've been grinding hard ever since then. I'm trying to put out content on a daily basis, short form content daily, and then 2 to 3, sometimes 4 or 5, depending on what's happening, long form videos per week.
Okay.
But I would say probably on average it's 2 long form videos per week, and I've been doing that consistently since 2018. I think there was maybe a few days that I missed, but I've been grinding. I've been uploading a lot, and I'm still enjoying it. I still have the passion for it. I'm not burnt out. There's still a lot of projects that I want to do. There's still a lot of topics that I haven't covered, so I'm motivated to keep going.
Yeah, that's actually really impressive. That's really impressive. And you do it all alone. Or do you? Or do you have help?
I have a little bit of help.
You do?
With some things, because I upgraded my website. I think it was in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have a team behind the website.
Okay.
So I don't have to do as much work regarding, refunds for the courses and so on, and website design and all that. I've outsourced all that, and that saved me a lot of time, because I used to do that by myself for the first 3 years. But when it comes to editing the video, recording the video, I've had people record me at times.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, if I'm doing a lesson or something, I'm using a tripod. But when it comes to editing, it's very difficult to get the right edit by somebody who doesn't understand my teaching methodology. Because of the way I make the videos with the illustrations, the way I piece it all together, it's pretty close to impossible to outsource that type of content and have somebody else edit it. So for it to be the way I want it to be, I have to do it. Things like a vlog, which I've done only a few times, those generally don't do well unless you're on a pro tour like yourself. And vlogging, that can work. There's a lot of successful channels that do that.
Yeah.
But vlogs can be outsourced, and maybe matches, you can outsource that type of content, but most of the other stuff that I do, I simply can't.
Yeah.
So I want to do it by myself, and I have to do it by myself.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time.
Yeah. For everyone that wants to know more about Nick's history and how he grew up, how he started coaching, everything, we covered all of that in the first and second episode. Mostly in the first. I don't even know.
The first.
What did we talk about in the second? It was more like, I remember, like back and forth.
You asked me who has the best forehand.
Yeah.
And I said Djokovic, and people were freaking out.
Yes.
I meant it
Do
more.
Do you still agree with that?
Well, listen, I've talked about this many times. I even made a video about the Djokovic forehand. I value consistency the most, and I feel like he has the most consistent forehand.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely not the fastest, definitely not the most powerful one, the heaviest one, not the most lethal one. If you listen to the players, the vast majority of players who have played against Federer will say that Federer has the greatest forehand of all time, right? Now, I've been hearing a lot of people say Alcaraz, but despite the fact that Djokovic doesn't have the flashiest forehand, the prettiest forehand, since I value consistency so much, I feel like if I had to bet a lot of money on a player making a shot in a very important stage of a match, let's say like match point in the 5th set tiebreak or something like that, and there's a forehand passing shot that has to be made, I'm going to put my money on Djokovic, because a stroke also has to do with your mental abilities. And to me, Djokovic is mentally the strongest player of all time, and I'm putting my money on him. I know that he's going to make that shot. Of course, other players can make that shot as well, Federer, Nadal, but if I had a choice, I'll put my money on Novak. What do you think? If you had a choice, let's say between Alcaraz, Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic, in that circumstance, you put a lot of money on the line. And by the way, I never bet on tennis. I never bet on sports. Emma hasn't either.
Actually, never, yeah.
Yeah. If you just hypothetically had to put money on the line, who would you pick out these 4 guys?
Djokovic.
You see what I mean?
Because I was just going through a scenario. I was thinking Nadal, no. I was thinking Federer, still no. I don't know, he can shake. I don't know. He doesn't.
Sometimes, right?
Yeah. Alcaraz
can be wild
maybe
sometimes.
Go for too much.
You
you know?
Listen, I'll pick those 3.
He's great. They're all, come on.
I'll pick any of those 3 guys outside of Djokovic above anybody else in the world
of course,
with the same list. But if I had to choose between those 4, just because Djokovic is so clutch, this is why I value his forehand. It's very consistent.
Yeah, I agree with that. Talking about Djokovic, I wanted to touch up on this today, actually. What do you think? I don't know if you've seen last few days Djokovic talking about how tennis, like we need to do something about tennis, right? Like Padel, Pickleball, all these other racket sports are taking over in the clubs. People are building more Padel, Pickleball. Tennis is kind of, we say that tennis is the king, like tennis is always going to be tennis, is the classiest, is the best out of all of these racket sports. But like the truth is that these sports are taking over, right? And like, what do you think about this topic?
First of all, I've made, I think, 5 or 6 pickleball videos. And I even made one with you. Do you remember?
Yes.
We made one together.
Yes.
And you beat me in pickleball, like, I don't know, we played like up to 10 and
That's probably the last time I played pickleball.
Won 2 points.
Yeah.
The paddle is so short, I can't bend anyway. It's a nightmare for me, pickleball. And by the way, people are getting hurt left and right playing pickleball.
I see that.
Sam Querrey played 16 years on tour, never had any problems with his Achilles. Within the first year of playing pro pickleball, tore his Achilles.
No.
Yes. My ex, lifelong tennis player, started playing pickleball, tore her Achilles.
No.
Now, of course, these are anecdotal, these 2 examples, but I've actually read articles that hospitals have seen an increase in pickleball injuries. So the way I think this is being caused is the fact that the ball bounces low. Okay, the ball has absolutely no power.
Yeah.
Right? The paddle is also short.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who doesn't bend well, is not very agile, you're going to make very awkward, uncomfortable movements, to get the ball back over, especially if you build a lot of muscle memory in tennis, where you do have a longer racket. You make those same movements in pickleball. You're going to have to bend down lower, and you might, blow out your back or hurt your knee or something like that. So I do think that pickleball is quite dangerous, actually, believe it or not. Even though a lot of people think it's not very physical, I think there might be some evidence that it's more injury prone. You're going to be more injury prone if you play pickleball compared to tennis.
It's interesting because I feel like, and please, no offense to anyone that's playing pickleball, like anybody can play pickleball. So like this is what
That's
I'm
true.
thinking, that like there are more injuries and people are seeing more injuries and
True.
with pickleball because so many people are playing the ones that are probably not that athletic either,
It's true.
right?
It's true.
So like they're picking up these paddles, they're going out there thinking it's like nothing, but then like they've never played tennis, they've never played, and they're getting injured
True.
left and right because they don't know how to move, right? They think it's easy, but you actually have, I don't know.
It's hard. But to answer your original question, you asked me about
Yes.
what Djokovic
Yes.
said about the other sports. So 2018, when I started on YouTube, I started noticing that more people were playing pickleball than tennis.
In 2018?
Yeah, 6 years ago.
Really?
Yes, yes. At particular places. For example, Calusa Park in Boynton Beach,
Okay.
another place, they have a
Yeah.
separate pickleball facility. Used to be these field hockey
Yeah.
rinks, I guess, and they turned them into pickleball courts. And there's separately 4 tennis courts. So I used to go there, and I had a couple of guys I used to hit with, and we used to see, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, nobody on the tennis courts, which happens all the time when it's hot.
Yeah.
People play tennis early in the morning.
Yeah.
And then there's a dead zone between like 11 and 4 in the afternoon or something like that. But pickleball, busy through the entire day. And I started noticing this in 2018. And this is where I started being concerned a little bit about tennis. Back then, I was especially worried because there was no Sinner, there was no Alcaraz, and the big 3 were already aging. And I was scared that when the big 3 retire, with pickleball blowing up, and locally I'm seeing more popularity compared to tennis, I thought that tennis was going to be in big trouble. However, I've made, like I said, 5-6 pickleball videos, and I've done a lot of research. And pickleball is actually nowhere near the participation levels of tennis. And tennis is doing quite well. Ever since the pandemic, tennis has been growing. And tennis is doing well. And, as far as watching pickleball on TV, there's absolutely no comparison to tennis. I don't think that people enjoy watching pickleball on TV that much. I do think that people really enjoy watching tennis. So that's not a threat. The biggest threat that I see is not in private country clubs or private tennis clubs, but more in public places, public parks, or maybe in Florida here we have tennis courts at almost every neighborhood or community, right?
Yeah.
Apartment complex, there's tennis courts,
Yeah.
and almost all of them. And because there's truly more popularity for pickleball, of course, an apartment complex, if there's more demand for pickleball, they're going to turn the tennis court into 2 pickleball courts. The same thing is going to happen at public parks and so on. So tennis players that utilize these facilities are, of course, upset about this.
Yeah.
And, there's other places where they've drawn pickleball lines on the tennis court. And a lot of tennis players hate that, but we can live with that because we can still play tennis. What we can't live with is the fact that tennis courts are being taken away and turned into pickleball courts.
Yeah.
I've had so many people send me messages, petitions of places that had tennis courts for many, many years, decades, and then, people using these courts, and then these courts turned into pickleball courts, and people are upset, obviously. So, look, I understand that they're doing this because it's in the interest of a broader audience, it's simply demand. But what I would like to see is, for example, what Calusa Park did in Boynton Beach, where tennis courts are untouched, no pickleball lines, and pickleball courts are built separately.
Yeah.
Then there's no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no problem. Is pickleball a threat to tennis? Is Padel a threat? Is beach tennis that's played in Brazil a lot a threat to tennis? I don't think so, actually.
Okay.
If you actually look at the numbers, and I did the research, there's actually no threat whatsoever. Tennis is doing well. If you look at certain countries, tennis is exploding. For example, in Italy, I don't think there's a threat. The biggest problem, however, is what I said before, these public facilities are being transitioned to pickleball, and people are very upset.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it too. I mean, wherever I'm traveling a lot now for tournaments, and I see that tennis is doing really good, like everywhere I go. Like all of these clubs, especially I went to Colombia,
Yeah.
South America, and it's like I was in this club. They had like almost 30 courts, clay courts,
Amazing.
really nice,
Amazing.
packed with kids,
That's what I
packed
mean.
with adults, packed.
Ever
They didn't even have pickleball.
Ever since the pandemic, tennis has been on the up and up.
Yes.
Numbers going up every year.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, yes, pickleball is growing, Padel is growing, all of these, and beach tennis too. Have you ever played?
You know what? I have a beach volleyball court right in front of my apartment, and I play with my daughter all the time.
Really?
There's these special rackets that you have to buy that have
Yeah.
holes in them, and you play with those orange balls, you know, for
Yeah.
10 and under or
Yeah,
whatever.
the orange dot.
And usually it doubles. It's singles, you only play on half a court, and it's really fun because you're just volleying and you can dive and throw yourself in the sand. It's so much fun.
But I played in Miami last summer.
You
I
played
got
beach tennis?
invited. I played beach tennis, but I don't remember it being with orange dot.
Listen, the official rules that you play with one of those balls.
Really?
Now it might be a special
I
beach.
actually can't remember.
It might be a special beach tennis ball, but the research that I've done,
Yeah.
because I was going to do a video on beach tennis, you can use one of these like orange dot balls or
Okay.
orange balls. That works well.
I really liked it. It was
fun. A lot of fun.
and it's a workout.
Big time.
You're in the sand, and like my
Big
legs
time.
were like, oh my god, first time I played, I was really tired. I was
going to
tired.
record this video with Milan. Do you want to do a beach tennis video?
Yeah, sure. It's
All
a
right.
good
Maybe-
workout.
we should do doubles though, because it's
Yeah.
usually played doubles.
Who should be the fourth? A girl. We should do mixed doubles.
All right,
then.
let's do mixed doubles.
I have a friend.
Okay, great.
She plays for university here, so we could
All
do
right,
mixed
awesome.
doubles.
As far as Padel, it's super trendy right now in Miami,
Yeah, I love
and it's
Padel.
unbelievably expensive in Miami.
It is.
It's
So
insane.
expensive.
It's insane. It's like twice or three times as
Yes.
much as tennis.
But it's that sport that people play to like show off that they're playing
That's
it.
right.
Like the famous people, the actors, the same.
That's right.
They're like, oh, they're all playing Padel, especially that reserve Padel in Miami.
That's right. Now
So everybody is there, right? Even David Beckham is
That's
there.
right. You met Sarah. She's in my videos.
Yes. Yeah.
You got to know her, right? Because
Yeah,
you both
she's great.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she played Padel with Daddy Yankee.
Yeah, I just saw
You saw that?
Yeah. I was like,
So there's a lot of celebrities playing
Yes.
Padel in Miami, but there's also a lot of celebrities playing tennis.
Today's video is sponsored by Lucky in Love. Gone are the days of ladies' golf and tennis apparel that all look the same. Lucky in Love is ushering in a new age. The high-end women's apparel brings options fit for the modern, expressive woman. Partake in the ultimate luxury and shop Lucky in Love for your new favorite fashion items for women and use code EB20 to get 20% off your next purchase.
I mean, tennis is doing okay. I
Yeah.
get though what Djokovic is doing, and I'm fully supportive of his message.
Yeah.
We want to get as many tennis players in the game as possible. We want to see the courts packed.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm fully supportive of his message, and the fact that tennis is doing good now, who knows what's going to be in a couple of years. So we need to stay with it, and I think one of the ways to motivate people to go out there and play is the content that we make. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I received
Yeah.
so many messages, so many emails of people who have, started playing tennis because of my beginner video, which is my most viewed
Okay.
video.
Which
beginner,
one is that?
Beginner lesson with Anna.
Okay.
It's got like, I don't actually know, 3 million views, maybe even more.
And it's a long one?
Yeah, it's a long form, yeah.
Oh, God.
So-
Nice.
I couldn't tell you how many people have started playing tennis because of that video. And I'm proud of that because, these same people are going to buy rackets, they're going to buy shoes.
Yeah.
They're going to go rent a court,
Yeah.
they're going to continue to play.
Yeah.
So this is one of my goals, is to motivate people to go out there and play.
Yeah.
And also, of course, get better so that they have fun and they're going to hopefully be lifelong tennis players because of it.
Yeah. So what are your current projects you're working on, if it's not a secret?
No, it's
With
not a
your-
secret. So I definitely want to do a lot of videos with you because I love the contrast between female pro or high level female player and recreational male or even maybe high level male. Seeing that contrast, I think is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can do a few more videos like that. Of course, like drills, it's always great. We've done some great drill videos, some technique. But see, the last couple of years, I try to do big projects at the end of the year because the way YouTube works in the tennis niche is that during the Grand Slam season, so from the Australian Open to the US Open, you have the chance to do well and get some pretty good views if you make good videos, of course. But then, doesn't matter what channel it is, after the US Open, there's a big drop off.
Oh, okay.
And a loss of interest for tennis. See, hardcore tennis fans, they're going to watch tennis all year long. They're going to watch the tournaments in China. They're going to watch the Paris tournament indoors. They're going to watch the World Tour finals. They're going to stay with it. But there's some people that just tune out and they're back at the Australian Open. So I found that stretch of time after the US Open, views drop a lot.
Okay.
So what I try to do to counteract that is make a big project. And I've done, in 2022, I did EMA versus Macy. Remember that? And there was a tremendous amount of work because, I was coaching you and I was coaching Macy at the same time. And then you guys did a full match.
Yeah.
And that was a tremendous amount of work. And unfortunately, it didn't do that well. If you look at the views, it didn't do that well. So the next year, I had the chance to work with one of my students that came to see me from Brazil in 2019, and we decided to do a 10-day transformation, to train hard for 10 days, to record everything and to show whether there has been an improvement done in 10 days. So I canceled everything and I committed my schedule completely to him, and we practiced 5 hours per day for 10 days.
Oh my God.
We played sets every day. I set him up to play against other players.
Okay.
On the third day, I blew out my knee. Yeah, I blew out my knee because I was playing so much. I wasn't used to it, playing so many sets. And so I had all this footage, and I turned it into a 12-part series. And this one did a little bit better than EMA versus Macy because some of them were technical. There were technical lessons, and those, if they're focused on a specific thing that people are interested in, that type of video has a chance to do well. So a couple of those videos did well, but overall, it really didn't perform as well as I thought it would. Let's just put it that way. So I'm uncertain because I have another big project that I'm planning to do. I'm uncertain whether I'm going to do it this year. But as far as what I'm going to do on YouTube, I do different type of content, and it's basically either match play, on-court lessons, gear, mostly tennis rackets, sometimes strings, sometimes shoes, talk about gear. And then I also, in 2022, I started doing this thing called Monday Morning Tennis Rant, where I talk about pro tennis, because ever since I was very, very young, I had a big interest in pro tennis, and I always look at results. And so what I try to do with that is provide an analysis that's new, that's fresh, because when I watch tennis, I always watch it on mute, or I try to watch a feed that doesn't have any commentary, because I don't want to be influenced and just basically repeat whatever they said on TV. You know, this guy had 10 break points, 55% first serve. I don't want to like tell them what they already heard if they saw the match. So I watched the match, and I imagine myself like sitting in the crowd as a coach, or I imagine myself actually playing on the court, and I kind of come up with a perspective from those two viewpoints, and I try to present something fresh, something original. So that is something that I've done that's new. It's very difficult to get a lot of views with those type of videos because those videos are not evergreen. In other words, like if I'm talking about who won Monte Carlo, come Thursday that next week, nobody's going to care.
Exactly. That's
a month later, nobody's going to care. So those videos only get like a push the first day, the second day. They usually die on the third day. So it's just a matter of how good can you do it right off the bat. You know, can you get a lot of views right at once? Then it's worth it. But often it's not worth it. There's a lot of engagement. There's tons of comments on those type of videos, and people tell me that they like it. So I'm going to keep doing that. So it's going to be a mixture of those 4 types of content.
Okay.
And maybe if I can manage, I'm going to do a big project at the end of the year, but I can't guarantee that one.
Today's episode is sponsored by MatchSet. MatchSet is an amazing company that provides players with incredible equipment and apparel. With MatchSet, equipment does matter, and they make sure it won't slow you down. Use code tenniswithema to get 10% of Match Tennis today. How do you think YouTube has changed in the last 6 years that you've been doing the content and being consistent? Is it better to post more shorts right now or longer form, or a mix of those? What would you recommend? What's doing good now?
It's really hard to recommend, because if you plan to make money, you're not going to make any money from shorts in the tennis niche. You're just not. Unless you have 500,000 subscribers or 500,000 followers on Instagram. It's going to be very difficult.
Okay.
So it's just going to be a side gig.
Okay.
However, if you make long form content and you get good views, you can make that your full-time job.
Yeah.
So if you're capable of making long form content, because long form content is very difficult to make. Not that short form content is easy to make, but there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
You can knock out a reel or a short in a half hour. Some videos take me 2-3 days to edit.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a whole different ball game, and for that reason, there's much higher monetization on long form content.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to give advice, but if somebody has the passion for content, I recommend you do everything and you post stuff everywhere. You know, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, YouTube long form, you do Facebook, Threads, X. You just go
X.
That's Twitter. So you just put it everywhere. If you have the passion for it, and if you want to make good content, you just got to, be consistent. Short form content, it's got to be daily, or at least every other day.
Okay.
As far as long form, it depends. You can do really well posting once a month, or you can do really well posting every day. It's very complicated to explain. It's complicated to explain as far as long form.
Yeah.
But you ask me, how has YouTube changed, or how has tennis content changed in general? It changed tremendously. See, I've been a consumer of tennis content forever, ever since the creation of YouTube, pretty much. So I was always very familiar with the OGs of the game, which are Essential Tennis, Top Tennis Training, Field Tennis, Fuzzy Yellow Balls. These guys have literally been at this for 15 years. If you look at Field Tennis's first video, oldest video on his channel, I think it's at least 15 years, maybe even more, maybe it's 18 years, whatever. So these guys have been at it for a long time. And when I came into the game in 2018, there was obviously a lot more content creators. There was a lot of competition, but there weren't really a lot of niches, so to speak. It was tennis instruction, tennis match play, maybe a little bit of gear. So what I'm seeing now is that ever since the pandemic, tennis content has become very niche. So you have the typical tennis instruction, posting lessons on YouTube, technical analysis, and so on. Then you have the content creators who post recreational tennis matches, like Winston Do, even though he does post some professional level matches as well, and Tennis Troll. Then you have people like yourself who are pro players who will record themselves and make vlogs. For example, Simon Freund, Gladiator Tennis, My Tennis HQ, Tennis Brothers. All right, so that's another form of content. Then you have the tennis equipment guys. And even within that, there's a couple of niches there, where there's one guy who only does shoes, tennis shoes. He also does basketball shoes. And there's guys who only do stringing. And then there's guys who do racket, stringing, and all that. For example, Tennis Nerd or Tennis Spin. Then something that's brand new on Instagram and YouTube Shorts, you have comedy content, tennis comedy content. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I mean, are you thinking about those that are like making fun of the coaching styles, or like the Rune with his shorts?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or Medvedev return and the guys behind the fence.
Exactly.
There's tons of this now.
Yeah.
Tons.
I love those. They're very funny.
They are. They're good.
It's entertainment.
Of course.
Yeah.
Then there is, of course, the tennis girls.
Oh, yeah.
Tons of them. The tennis players, females who post, stuff on Instagram. Then there's also the guy version of that now.
Yes.
Tennis 101.
Yes.
Even though he makes unbelievable videos.
Oh my God. They're just aesthetically pleasing to watch.
Tennis 101. I don't know him. I think Tennis Nerd is my buddy Jonas. He knows him, but he makes the best quality videos.
Yeah.
He
has the best equipment probably.
In the entire tennis niche.
Yeah.
His videos are amazing. He uses drone footage. He goes to all these exotic locations.
Yeah.
And he deservingly gets, like, some videos are 10 million plus views, some are even 20 million views. So all this is great for tennis, but there's probably niches that I'm leaving out. There's probably even more, but you see it's like very segmented now.
Yeah.
And there's many different ways. Now, one thing that I forgot, during the pandemic, what started happening is there was no pro tennis. Coaches weren't working. So what started happening is that a lot of coaches started making content.
Yeah.
And that all these companies like Top Court and Masterclass and I don't even know the names of the other ones, where you had famous coaches making tennis content. Then you had famous coaches starting YouTube channels. You had famous players starting YouTube channels. Now you have What the Vlog. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
So it has become so unbelievably competitive, the space. And pretty much every tennis coach now has not every, of course, but almost every tennis coach has an Instagram account and is posting tennis videos, tennis drills, or some kind of tennis content. So the space now is unbelievably saturated. It was already saturated when I got into the game in 2018, but now there's no comparison. It's unbelievably saturated.
Even the podcasts. There's so many podcasts that are coming out.
See, Jonas from Tennis Nerd, he has a podcast. Then you have Functional Tennis, Fabio.
Yeah. Then Andy Roddick.
Andy Roddick's podcast served. Craig Shapiro.
Yeah.
You got the tennis podcast. I mean, there's so many.
Even Kyrgios.
Gil Gross. You know Gil Gross?
Yeah.
He is a podcaster, but also a YouTuber. So that's something that's like a brand new thing, where you have somebody that's a podcaster but started putting the podcast on YouTube, which is very common. So Gil Gross was the first one to do that, and now Andy Roddick served is doing that as well.
Yeah.
So listen, when I make a video, Monday Morning Rant, when I'm talking about whatever tournament, I'm directly competing with Andy Roddick, which is insane. This is insane. So this is a very competitive area.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to get views.
Yes.
You have to make really good stuff if you want to have success. That's the thing.
You have to find that niche or something. Like, that's what I'm like thinking, like, so I stopped with my podcast for a while because I had this, as you know, this sponsorship that they were very controlling, and I could not do my podcast. I was not allowed to.
You talk about this publicly?
No.
No, okay.
But I will.
Okay.
Eventually, I'm finding the right time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm so happy that I started again, because I took like 6-7 months break, and I was doing really good with it.
Yeah.
And like now, like going back into it, that like so many podcasts have come in this time where I could have grown it more, but I had to stop. So I kind of like restarting. I just created an Instagram page, so everyone, like, I have a different page now for the podcast, a profile.
That's very smart.
Yes, so there I'll post a lot of reels, a lot of stuff just for the podcast.
So Emma, there's nothing wrong with tapping into several niches. So for example, I am doing pro tennis content, talking about pro tennis. I'm doing tennis equipment. I'm doing matches.
Yeah.
I'm doing tennis lessons. So I'm in like 4 different sectors of the tennis niche.
Yeah.
So it's okay for you to do different things. You post some matches of yourself, some blogs. You also do the podcast, and you just, as long as you have the passion for it, as long as you have fun making content, you just keep going, and you're gonna see which one is doing best. Now, if you're putting a lot of effort and a lot of work into a specific type of content and it's not working, like for example, I tried doing blogs in 2020. I did, I think, 2 or 3 of them, and it didn't perform well, and I never did one again, even though that probably might be my favorite type of content. Like I would love to make that type of content. It's so fun.
It is.
But I'm not going to do something that nobody wants to watch.
But that's my vlogs too. And sometimes they're doing good, but like I have a lot of people like asking me to post more match play. So they want to see that more, because I still have not posted on my page. So like that, I just recorded one in California. We're going to be doing more. I'm going to
help you with that.
Because I think that is going to be really good, because people want to see that. And also, like, I want to be more involved in my own game by watching it more, studying it more, what I need to work on.
Emma,
and that is what I enjoy, right? Instead of just like me, I'll vlog here and there from a tournament, what I'm doing and what's going on. And I want like people to know more like how it is behind the scenes, like playing these little tournaments, like it's not like,
of course,
the grind of getting there and doing, but like I feel like people don't want to see that as much. They want to see the tennis.
They love watching tennis matches.
Yeah,
they do. So I'm definitely going to help you with that. We'll definitely do stuff together. And if you record your matches, you find a good editor, and to chop those up for you.
Yes.
And I encourage you to do a lot of match play on your channel.
Yeah.
So that's something that's going to be very natural, very organic for you to do. But just something you said earlier, that when you watch your own matches, you learn.
Yeah.
I went deep into technical analysis around 2014.
Okay.
I started doing a tremendous amount of work and research, and I've learned so much, and I continue to learn.
Yeah.
It's amazing how complex the game of tennis is. How many different styles there are.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So incredible.
Let me just put it this way: like I'll watch a match, and I'm picking up so many additional things from watching the footage than I did with my naked eye.
Yeah.
So that's why I encourage everyone to use video analysis. I even created a course called the Video Analysis Masterclass. It's available on intuitivetennis.com, where I teach people how to analyze their game.
Oh, okay.
Step by step. Not only technique, but also match play.
I like that.
So you watch a match and you know exactly
what you're looking at.
How to analyze, and then also how to make corrections for the technique, how to use the match analysis and implement it into your next practice.
Yeah.
Because think about it this way. If you play a match and you lose, that match is going to be fresh in your mind. So if you practice very shortly after that match, it can be very valuable practice. But if you wait too long, let's say you play a couple of matches after that one that you lost and you win them, you're gonna have a very hard time remembering what you did wrong
Yeah.
in that match that you lost.
Mm-hmm.
So with video analysis, the footage is there forever.
Yeah.
So there's a big value in that. And I think when you start looking at yourself playing,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna pick up things,
Yeah.
things that you could do better, because no matter how good you are, there's always room for improvement, right?
Yeah. Always. And that's another thing, like, that's where I'm at. Like, I want to take control of my own game. Like, I mean, yes, I do need advice, but like at the end of the day, like, and I've coached for so long, I feel like I need to trust myself more, that I know what I'm doing. Like last few matches that I played, I kind of like, I didn't trust myself enough. And I'm like, oh, should I be doing this? Am I doing this? Am I doing this? And like kind of started overthinking in the match instead of just like trusting that I know and I can find a way. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
But it's tough.
It's hard to find that balance because it's very complex.
Yeah, it's so
your
complex.
emotional state is very difficult to control at times in matches. Easier said than done.
Yeah.
There are matches that we all had where inexplicably we step on the court and we play unbelievable.
Yeah.
Or we get easy power.
Yeah.
Hitting the ball hard, moving well,
Yeah.
feeling light on the court,
Yeah.
feeling happy.
Yeah.
You play your best tennis.
Yeah.
Then on other days, inexplicably, even though you prepared perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you weigh 50 kilos more.
Yeah.
You can't get your feet off the ground. You
Yeah.
feel stiff. The strokes feel ugly.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get any power.
Yeah.
So it's very complex. The reasons for these things are tricky to analyze, but there are reasons. It could be different things. Could be your opponent. Could be who knows what. It's hard, but it's normal to go through ups and downs. Djokovic said one of the greatest things I've ever heard. There's a lot of people who will preach this positive thinking. Oh, just think positive. Someone sent me a reel yesterday of somebody talking in front of a bunch of academy kids, and they were just talking about how the best players in the world are the ones that think the most positively. Now, that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Did you see that match where the guy was up 5-love in the fifth and lost?
I didn't see the match, but
Golfit against
I
Mahaj?
saw that. I mean, I didn't see the
Okay.
match, but I saw.
So
Yeah. So
tell
did you
me-
watch it?
I actually didn't, but tell me, should Goffin have been positive at being up 5-0 on grass, and then all of a sudden it's 5-6 in the fifth? Just be positive. You put a smile on your face.
You got this.
Nothing happened. It's all good. So this is easier said than done, okay? So what Djokovic said makes a lot of sense. It's okay to be negative.
Mm-hmm.
But the trick is, how quickly can you recover?
Yeah.
Do you let the negativity linger into the next point,
Mm-hmm.
into the next game, throughout the whole set? That's what happens to most of us, happened to me a million times. Negativity kicks in, lingers,
Mm-hmm.
transfers into the rest of the match, and I'm out of there, I lost.
Yeah.
Where he, the greatest mental player in the history of tennis, he gets negative just like everybody else, because that's just human. That's what happens to us. But he's able to snap out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When he gets broken, he's the one that re-breaks more than anybody
Yeah.
else in history. So he snaps out of it. So he said, it's okay to be negative. You just got to find a way to give it your best shot
Yeah.
on the very next point. That's the secret. Not trying to block out negativity and trying to be positive. Easier said than done.
Yeah, I actually just read this book. It's really good. And it talks about that. It talks about neutral thinking, right?
Okay.
Like, so the book is called It Takes What It Takes. It's so good. I recommend it to I don't have time to read that many books, but now that I'm traveling more, like on the plane, and I really am enjoying it. This one, it's like, he's just talking about that, just like you said, we cannot it's not natural that you're trying to think positive all the time. Oh, I want to be positive. Like sometimes you're just not, but like if you're neutral, right? Like if you're not too positive too, but you're neutral, you accept things as they are. You're accepting it, and then you're doing your best to, to control that, to control your emotions.
I agree.
So I recommend that book. Definitely.
Send me a link.
I will.
I want to get that. But just
Or Audible.
to add one more thing, I get
Yeah.
a lot of criticism for, just basically paraphrasing Djokovic, because people are extremely sensitive about poor behavior more than ever before in history on social media. So someone like Rublev is getting ostracized right now for being...
He's getting what?
Ostracized. He's being... I don't even know if that's the right word, but he's being criticized very heavily.
Okay.
For poor behavior. So
I mean, that was pretty bad, though.
It is bad. I'm not saying it's good. It's bad. Very bad.
Yeah.
All right. He needs to definitely improve in that aspect. No doubt about that. Djokovic is bad too at times. You know, he's smashing rackets and stuff like that. So I'm by no means condoning like poor behavior on the court, because that's not what I mean by negative energy. Negative energy can be something that doesn't show on the outside at all. So I'm not someone that wants any of my players to throw their racket, to scream. No good. But the negative energy can be there without anybody seeing any negativity. It's inside of you.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about with Djokovic, where maybe I didn't see the match, but maybe Goffin didn't even look upset when it was 5-5. But I guarantee you inside was a hurricane going on in his mind.
Yeah.
A hurricane of bad emotions. So maybe he turned it off right away. I don't know. He's a top player. But if you can find ways to turn this negativity around quickly and not let it linger, that's the secret. And of course, you want to have good behavior on the court.
Yeah.
You don't want to throw rackets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I have for you these, I Googled some of these tennis IQ questions.
Please.
To see your, but I feel like you are like a perfect person for this, because
it's going to be tough.
Because you know it. You probably know all of these. And they're very easy.
I'm nervous.
Okay, you want 3 or 5 questions?
Oh, give me 5.
Okay, we're going to end with this. Okay?
All right.
Here we go. Ready?
Ready.
How many times has Rafael Nadal won the French Open?
14.
Yes. Which male tennis player was consistently ranked in the top 10 between 2005 and 2023?
In the top 10?
Mm-hmm.
In the top 10?
Between 2005 and 2023.
Nadal.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
A tennis player has to win which 5 tournaments to win a Golden Slam?
These are easy, Emma. Can you find harder ones? What is this? This is like for like a 5-year-old junior.
But okay, I didn't know the 5th one. Do you know?
Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, US Open, Olympic Gold.
Yes.
All right.
ATP is the governing body of the men's professional tennis circuit. But what does the acronym ATP stands for?
Association of Tennis Professionals.
Yes. You see, I didn't know that.
Really?
I really didn't.
What does WTA stand for?
Women's Tennis Association.
Yes.
That's easier. Okay, and last one. Who was the first man to win 20 Grand Slam men's singles titles in the Open era?
Roger Federer.
Yes. How?
These are easy. You have another one? Come give me another one. The hardest one you have. I want to get one wrong.
I mean, you literally...
These are easy, though. Give me a hard one, like the hardest one that you have.
Okay, let me do that.
All right.
I'm going to go right now.
Oh, you are on like a website?
Yeah, it's like...
No, go ahead.
Okay, let's see. We're going to go until you miss one.
All right, go ahead.
I know we have to go.
Go ahead. I'll probably miss the next one.
Here we go.
No internet.
I have internet. Here we go.
Oh, I turned the computer around. I don't want to see. There you go.
Okay, here we go. Which brand was the official supplier of tennis balls for Wimbledon between 1902 and 2023?
Slazenger. Is correct?
Yes.
All right, next.
What fruit adorns the top of the Wimbledon Gentleman's Singles Trophy? Like, what fruit is at the top of the Wimbledon's Gentleman's?
Oh, I'm going to get this wrong. I don't even know. Pineapple?
Oh my God, this is right.
That's right?
Yes.
All right, next, come
Oh
on.
my God. Which former tennis player controversially stated that if Serena Williams played the men's circuit, she'd be like 700 in the world?
John McEnroe.
Yes.
All right, next.
The Tara Wortman Open is held in which country?
See, I hate this. I'm a big opponent of calling tournaments by the sponsor's name. You call a tournament like Berlin, Hamburg, Madrid, Cincinnati. This is not right. Because when you say, I'm going to go play, you're not going to say, I'm going to play the, what did you say? Tara Wortman Open. You're going to go play whatever that is, which I don't know. I'm going to get it wrong. I'm going to guess. Is it men's or women's?
The Tara Wortman Open is held in which country? That's the question.
Oh, in the country?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's the tournament in, I don't know, USA women's tournament?
No, Germany. That's wrong.
I don't know. See, because I hate when the sponsor
I've never even heard of
puts
that.
the name. Don't you agree with me?
I agree. I've never. Who says Tara Wortman Open? Does it even exist?
Sponsors, they get enough from the tournament. They don't need their name stealing the tournament's name,
Okay, and last one. Because
go ahead.
Who was named the ATP Player of the Year in 1989?
Oh, this is good. ATP Player of the Year in 89? 89. Okay, this is really good. Hold on, let me do some math. 85, 86, 87 was Cash in Wimbledon. 88 was 89 is probably Stefan Edberg.
No.
No?
Go one more chance.
In 89? I don't know.
Boris Becker.
What? I was gonna. See, now I'm mad.
There's somebody. I'll say these for the next time. They're actually pretty good, but
negative emotions. I gotta block them out because I thought, Becker lost to Edberg in the Wimbledon final in '89, I think, because Becker won Wimbledon 85, 86, 88. Edberg won. Cash won in '87. Edberg won in '89. So I thought Edberg might have gotten it that year, but I think Becker might have won the U.S. Open in '89, or the Australian. Becker won Australian Open and U.S. Open. And he won that World Tour Finals. Back then was called the Masters a ton of times. So Becker was an unbelievable player. But I'm glad I got it wrong.
Yeah, me too. God, this guy knows everything. Well, anyways, thank you so much for coming again. Everyone, stay tuned for the next matches. It's going to be on Intuitive Tennis YouTube channel and Tennis with Emma YouTube channel. We're going to do some different things with different players. Super excited.
Absolutely.
And thank you again.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to our podcast. Make sure to follow us on social media.
And be sure to listen to next week's episode of the EMAzing Tennis Podcast.